Guys, the two things we're going to chat about today are going to make millionaires, multi-millionaires out of normal people, just like you and just like me. However, before I get to that, I've got to frame it and teach you how you can get to there intact. Welcome to the channel. My name is Dinny. Welcome to the Bitcoin With Dinny channel. I'm just here sitting in the lovely town of Adair, passing the time. And I thought I'd do a little video. In fact, it's going to be a big video because I have a lot to say and I haven't done enough videos, so I'm going to try and pack in. So there are two big things into this video. The first thing I want to do is to help you get through the next 1 to 2 years intact, because a lot of you aren't going to. Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to come a cropper. You've already seen it happen, it's happening, and European Central Bank interest rates going up again. What's that mean? What that means is that normal people like you and me are losing their house on that decision, okay? Now, before I get to the good news, which I will get to, Nicky, what's the crack, man? Good to see you on. Anyone else, hit the like button, let me know who's here. If you're catching a recording, drop a comment in, say hello. And before I move on, I guess I better just shout out Bitcoin Ireland 2023 is on the 20th of May. Grab your ticket while you can. Phase 1 is sold out. We're into Phase 2. You can find the tickets on Eventbrite. It's a full day's event, and it's going to be awesome fun. And it's going to be really important that you get this information. Bring all your no-conner friends and teach them how to protect themselves as well. So yeah, before I get to the good news, Darren's almost. Sorry, Darren. I just want to give you the warnings, okay? Now, since late 2020, I started putting out this. I was like, lads, there's a big recession coming. I had no data to understand there was a recession coming, other than my own two eyeballs, just from looking around the world and seeing what was going on and going, we got to pay for this, we got to pay the price for this baby. And since then, I've been super surprised how resilient the world has rolled on. But my problem is I'm always early. As can you, my friends. I'm the raving lunatic doing stuff, and then 5 years later everyone's doing it. It's just normal life. And I don't mind being early. Unfortunately, when being early, you just sound a bit mad for a while, and then in a couple of years it's like, oh yeah, Dinny, we get it now. Alright, but now things are coming to the front. All the indicators are showing that it's worse than the 2008 recession. When we went into that great financial crisis, all the indicators, okay, are worse than that. The bank failed. Another bank just went under there. I think it was yesterday. Didn't go under. They just dropped 50% of their stock price in a day, lads. Those banks just gone wallop. We've had the biggest banking failures, inflation adjusted, bigger than 2008. Okay, now the news won't tell you this because they are terrified of that news getting out and becoming public, because that causes a bank run. And if you watch my other videos, you understand what a bank run is. It happens on sentiment. How do people feel? Okay, but my job is to tell you what you're not going to hear mainstream. Okay, because I think it's important. The only way I was able to retire early and go and do what I want and sit in the Adair Park on whatever day this is, Thursday is it, is because I didn't listen to mainstream and I went and found better info. Okay, and now I share what I know with you guys. And if that sounds good, give me a like there and help push the content out there. So another bank's gone under. All the metrics are looking horrendous, okay? But still, when you go around, you're like, everyone's spending money. What's going on? Like, everyone's flying here. Cash. We're all rich. I don't see no signs of 2008. And that's when these things come, they come to an almighty wallop, okay? There's a couple of things of why things are so busy, and I heard this on George Gammon was talking about this, and it kind of reigns true that if you go to the cinema, you go to a cafe, you go to a restaurant, you know, young people are cash rich, and that's because young people don't own houses. Because they're priced out of the property market right now, they don't have the debt of a house, so they don't have a mortgage, so they can go out and spend some money. Alright, but they're in financially a much worse position than we would have been when we were in our 20s and 30s. You know, I'm in my 40s, so I'm just speaking from my point in life, so it's going to be relevant to everyone. But that's why you're seeing a lot of spending, is because they literally don't have the hurdles that normal people would have. They'd have had a property and, you know, you've got your mortgage and everything. They don't have any of this, so they can be out there spending and making the economy look like it's great, but it's actually screwed, okay? Property price to wages is bigger skewed than it was going into 2008. Everything is just looking so nasty, okay? So all I want to say to you is prepare for the worst, okay? Expect the best, but prepare for the worst. That's always been my strategy, all right? And generally when I do that, if I'm wrong and the worst doesn't come, well, guess what? I just have loads of money, which I can then put into investments, all right? And if I'm right, you do really, really well, because you make money in the bad times, not the good times. This is where people don't understand like how to generate wealth. If you want to generate a lot of wealth, you do it in bad times, okay? You run into a burning building and you buy it when everyone's running out of it, and that's really how you make a lot of money. So a couple of tips. Well, we had another banking failure, so that's the fourth banking. We've had the second, third, fourth and fifth largest banking failure in America happen in the last 2 months. How crazy is that? Like, be aware of this stuff. When you deposit money in the bank is the legal owner. You don't own the money anymore. I've said this many times. My problem is that all the data that I consume, most of it's American data. Okay. Sorry, lads. Had a big mushroom thing there for breakfast. We're eating on me a bit. Now, my problem is that European central bank are looser than the Federal Reserve in America. The Federal Reserve run a tighter tolerance to inflation. European central bank are a bit more loose. Like, yeah, whatever. Like, if we can get it down a bit, we will. Whereas the Federal Reserve are like, we have to get it 2%. We're going to do everything to get it 2%. To me, what I read from that is, we're in bigger trouble if you live in Europe, if you're on the euro, because we're going to suffer from even worse inflation. That's not good, because inflation is a destroyer of wealth. It never comes back. So the fact that you've lost purchasing power, we've all lost purchasing power with our euros, that never comes back. That's just a haircut that we all have to endure now forever. All right? And if you lost 10% of your overall net worth, or 20% over the last 3 years, which you did, it's more than that, I'd argue. Okay, that doesn't come back. Right? Plus all the other tax you pay. It took you a long time to generate that wealth. And that's why inflation is absolutely brutal. And it just cuts you off the knees, lads. And you have to understand how to protect yourself from it. Most normal people don't. Only rich people do. That's why rich people don't own cash, and poor people own cash. Poor people have loads of cash in the bank. Or not loads, but they save in cash. And wealthy people don't. They save in assets. I'll give you 3 tips on how you survive the next 2 years. And if we go into this big recession that I think is going to come. One, it's to live below your means. Now, this is if you want to retire early. Like, I check out my retire early club, and we teach all this is what you do anyway. Okay, is you live below your means. But if you want to survive a recession, you must live below your means before you get there. Okay, you got to live before you get. You can't try and live below your means in a recession. Okay, because you might even have an income. Very difficult, guys. All right, so you have to live below your means going into the recession. All right. Now, this isn't just defensive strategy, it's an offensive strategy as well. All right, because when you live below your means, you're able to stack cash. All right, you're able to save, you're able to build up a savings portfolio, you're able to have some cash. Okay, so this is the one situation. I said that rich people don't have cash. Well, going into a recession, rich people will carry a little bit more cash than normal, because they know that assets are going to take a wallop, and they're going to take a beating. There could be deflation in multiple different assets, and if you have the cash on the sidelines, well, if you're sitting in all the assets and they deflate, well, you're stuck in the assets. You've got to wait till they recover. But if you're out of the assets and you're stacking cash, and then you go into recession, now you can move that cash into the assets. You know, buying the burning buildings, as I said, like, and that's what you got to do. You buy things when they're cheap. And my third tip, okay, one is to live below your means. The second is to stack more cash than you're on road. And the third one is to educate yourself. Understand how money works, understand how investing works, understand how your psychology works. You know, just pile education into yourself. There's so much free education out there now, and it's, you know, it's available if you want to watch a little bit less TV or watch a little bit less Netflix shows or whatever people do with their time. Put it into yourself, put it into your education, because you can get 1,000x on just stuff you can put in your brain. You can get a 10,000x. Now, you might be waiting a couple of decades for Bitcoin to do a 10,000x, but you can do it in 3-5 years just on the education you put in that in between your ears there. So that's what I'd say to you: educate yourself, stack cash, and live below your means, because I think there's nasty times ahead, lad. I've been talking about this in Retire Early Club since before Christmas. We've been preparing for this, been stacking cash, we've been able to dollar cost average and accumulate a lot of Bitcoin at the very bottoms and keep stacking, but we still also have cash on the sidelines so that we have savings to get through, you know, a year, 2 years, whatever, depending on how bad this thing goes. And if we don't need it, well, we've just got a lot of cash to pile into assets. So it's a win-win situation. Now, I want to bring it on to the good news. Okay, so that's just to warn you of what's to come. And I'd love to hear your comments. Do you think we're going into recession? Because I think everything that happens in the micro bubble happens in the macro. The macro is the big, the micro is the small. Okay? How do you feel yourself? What's the sentiment of the community people watching this? Do you think we're going into recession? Or do you think everything's fine? Do you think we're over the worst of it? And I'm not judging. You can totally disagree with me. I'd just love to hear your take on it. Stick it in the comments there. Because that's what I like to do. I like to just find out what my network is thinking and then extrapolate that out. Because in the world, we all more or less consume the same information, make the same decisions, have the same fears, worries, and we all more or less, humans act the same. We're all, so I'm like, whatever's happening in my micro, whatever I can see in my little town, that's pretty much the way the world, whatever the trend is, that's the way the world is possibly trending. Okay, now I know there's a nuance to that, but just in a macro, overall, 10,000 foot thought process. So part 2, okay, is, and I'm seeing AI being talked about on the mainstream news now. It was on RT News yesterday. Again, Retire Early Club, we're months ahead on this, okay? Back when I was over in Spain there, what was it, last August, I was deep down the AI rabbit hole. I was listening to Imad Mostique, who owns, what the hell is this company called? Can't think of it now. But he done 2 podcasts. He done one early 2022 with Rule Pal, and he done one in around August 2022. And the rate of change that happened between those 2 podcasts was absolutely crazy. In the first podcast, stuff that he was saying, I think this is about 5 years out. In the second podcast, he's like, yeah, we released that 2 months ago. The podcasts were 6 months apart, okay? So I was starting to scratch my head going, okay, we're hearing about robots coming, we're hearing about AI coming all our life. But now it seems we've reached the event horizon that this shit is coming, and it's coming fast. And the next 5 years is going to be massive transformational. I was using ChatGPT there a couple weeks ago, and I was just asking it, what jobs is going to disrupt? And it's crazy, guys. It's like there's people going to college now studying courses for careers that won't exist by the time they finish their course. You really have to pay attention to this stuff, because our world's going to move fast over the next 5 years, really fast. Now, when you think about this, okay, what does AI do? AI brings abundance, okay? It means like, oh, you're an accountant. That's a scarce job. We only have so many accountants. That's why you can charge loads of money. No. An AI can do that. You cost you $5 a year instead of $4,000 a year, or whatever you pay your accountant. Okay. There's literally hundreds of these careers that AI is going to disrupt. It's bringing abundance to the world, and it's doing it really fast, because something that software can be rolled out instantly. There doesn't need to be infrastructure, okay? It's not like we need to build factories, to build robots, to build cars. That takes time, okay? ChatGPT was a piece of software, and it scaled to 1 million users in a week, and 100 million within a month. It's been the fastest thing ever, because it's just a bit of software. We all have devices in our hands where we can download software. So this thing can spread like absolute wildfire. Maddie is saying AI will make us lazy. Yeah, like we can argue the morality of it, and it's definitely a super sketchy path that could be to our total demise. So that's why you can't take life too seriously, lads. We'll build a bit of AI, it'll kill us. There'll be a solar flare, the world will start again. A couple of 100,000 years to be some idiot like me sitting in a park with a yoke and sand making a video and going, yeah, I don't know how it's going to go. Maybe this is a 3rd or 4th iteration at this, or who knows, but don't worry about it, have the crack. So AI is going to bring abundance, okay? Now, in a world of abundance, what are people looking for? I've been telling this for 4 years now, since I set up Bitcoin With Dinny's consultant service. People are looking for scarcity. People need scarcity. It's how you protect and generate wealth, is by finding scarce things. As we scale our technologies and we're able to bring more abundance cheaper to everybody, okay, we can all have an AI now to tell us what's the best investment, which company should we buy. But the problem is there, if we can all do it, there's no scarcity in that. Alright? The only thing there's scarcity in, that I see, okay, is gold, being the scarcest physical thing on the planet, and Bitcoin being the scarcest digital thing on the planet. Gold has a lot of flaws in that we can't audit it, it's easy to fake, it's difficult to move, and it's got a physicality, and that's a serious drawback. Okay, and Bitcoin has improved on all those things. So as AI scales and brings abundance to our world and allows us all to have more for less, the world is just going to be searching for the scarcest thing. And for 14 years, Bitcoin has been that thing, and we're only at the tip of the iceberg. because it's still under half a trillion. And there's 900 trillion in global money out there looking for scarcity. So if you're watching this and you own no Bitcoin and you're waiting for the very bottom, I'll just have to say it's a big mistake you're making. I remember when I first got into space and I thought you need to find the bottom, you need to buy at the very bottom, wait till the bottom of the market. And it's nonsense. And anyone who tries that gets it wrong and ends up with less Bitcoin and doubles their time to retirement than if they use a more sensible strategy, okay? Everyone needs an exact strategy for themselves, but a dollar cost average strategy will work for everyone. The lump sum strategy, I can't give you that generically because I sit down with people and we spend a couple of hours building theirs, okay, in our consulting. But in terms of dollar cost averaging, everyone can start accumulating some Bitcoin. Not financial advice, nothing you hear is financial advice, but you'd be absolutely insane now not to own some Bitcoin. And the more you learn about the world, the more Bitcoin I think you're probably going to want to own. The more of your savings you're going to want to store in this thing. Because all roads lead to Bitcoin is my phrase I say on my Instagram channel, Bitcoin With Dinny. And they literally do. Because as AI creates more abundance for us, people are just going to be looking for more scarcity to protect and generate their value. And whatever returns we've seen in Bitcoin at the moment, there's so much road ahead. And it's just going to be amazing 5 to 10 years when this thing really kicks off and people figure out, they do the work, because it takes years to understand Bitcoin. You can't just look at it. You can look at it and think you understand it in a year, watch a few YouTubes and think, yeah, I get it now. But I don't know how many thousands of hours I've put into this thing, guys, and I've still put hours every single day into learning about it and understanding more and deeper. It literally takes 100 hours, 1,000 hours, 10,000 hours, I don't know, but I'm not there yet. And I do a lot every day. So for your average investor, your average money manager, where are they? They're not even at 10 hours of study, okay, before they actually allocate. But the world's going to change fast, and the next 5 years are going to be very telling. Get over the next 2 years, don't go broke, don't lose your house, don't end up defaulting on your mortgage and ending up in debt, because I've seen all that in 2008. I've seen people close to me make mistakes. That's how I learn. I learn by other people's mistakes as often as I can, because I see them still in bankruptcy. I see them still not being able to own on. Okay, so leverage can kill you. Get through the next 2 years, live below your means, and if you can defer your gratification, okay, and use the time to get educated and make better financial decisions and buy when others are fearful, okay, and make your bets accordingly, you will retire early. I believe you will. We've seen people do it. We've had people do it. I've done it myself. Guys, if you enjoy the content, throw a like in, throw a comment in, and love to hear what you guys think about the recession. Are we going into one, or am I just sounding alarm bells that don't need to be sounded? Anyway, look forward to meeting everyone at Bitcoin Ireland 2023, 20th of May. If you haven't got your ticket, get it as soon as you can. Make sure you come up and say hello at it, and we'll have the crack. We're having an after party that night as well, so if you can hang around for that, it'll be awesome. Guys, have a super day. Give you a little look around the view here. It's pretty nice. There has, I don't know, has it got the most thatch buildings in Ireland? But I was just taking a stroll around there. It's a lovely little town. It's awesome. I've never actually stopped in it. Normally you're just driving through it, going somewhere else. So it's nice to spend a bit of time here. Anyway, I'm waffling. See you there, James. Take care, guys. Dinny out.